Hollow was laying in their bed, staring at the scratches in the ceiling. They hadn't had a shower in, who know how long. Maybe 12 days. Anyway, Hollow wasn't moving. They couldn't be bothered to. They didn't want to. Hollow wanted to rot in their bed. They hadn't eaten in 4 days, and had barely had water. Suddenly, they heard a knock on the door of their messy, cramped bedroom. They couldn't possibly imagine who it could be. They hadn't seen anyone in weeks. They couldn't remember the names and faces of their friends. They were just a bunch of strangers now, no different from the ones that lived next door. Another knock followed by a voice calling out to them from behind the closed door. "Hey, Hollow. It's me, Guts. I'm gonna make you breakfast if you open the door," the person called. Oh, Guts. Hollow had heard that name before. Guts was their best friend before Hollow became a depressed shut-in. The knocking continued. "Hollow. Wakey wakey. I'm gonna make you some food. I need to make sure you aren't dead first, though." Ze yells. Hollow weakly gets up, struggling to move. They shift themselves towards the door, and put the weight of their hand on the handle, opening the door for Guts. Guts suddenly pushes Hollow over with a strong hug. A comforting hug. Hollow felt the blood rush to their cheeks. It felt so weird having another person in their space. Guts finally lets go after a few moments, sitting on top of Hollow. "Hollow, you look like shit, dude," Ze whispered. Hollow looks at their body. They're shirtless. Cuts and scars, covered in dry blood scattered around their arms and chest. An open box of bloodied blades sat on their bedside table. Hollow was always so careful about keeping their body clean, but there was still dried blood caked under their fingernails. Their hands, face, everything looked dirty. Hollow's hands are stained with dark red blood, as well as the tips of their fingers. Hollow tries to speak, but all that really comes out is a whine. They hadn't spoken in weeks. Their voice hadn't been used. But Guts didn't mind. Ze would always support Hollow. Ze stared at them, with shiny eyes. Just admiring Hollow, even though they were disheveled and dirty. It made Hollow feel warm inside, seeing someone looking at their bare skin, and being cared for. Guts gently took one of Hollow's hands and held it in both of their own. "We don't have to talk about what happened, all right? You can stay here. You don't even have to talk to me. Or look at me." Ze continued to stare lovingly at Hollow. Hollow didn't deserve this kindness. Guts appreciated them, and Hollow knew it. They tried to smile back, but it came out more as a grimace. Guts smiled. Ze stood up and walked toward the bathroom. Why did Guts care so much? Hollow thought to themselves. Guts doesn't care about me, right? How could anyone? I'm so useless. How did I get like this? They thought. Guts returned with a damp washcloth. Guts cleaned every single scratch on Hollow's body. Hollow flinched when Ze touched their scars. "Sorry. Didn't mean to hurt you," Guts muttered, feeling guilty. Ze gently started wiping the blood off Hollow's hands and arms, his chest and shoulders. For Hollow, it felt so weird having someone touch them so carefully. To take care of them. Hollow's face went a shade of pink, looking away from Guts, embarrassed. Guts wiped the rest of the dried blood off Hollow's neck and arms. Finally, Ze finished, sitting back down on the edge of the bed. Hollow laid their head down onto the pillow. "I am such an awful person," they thought. They felt Guts lay down beside them. Hollow made a little noise of shock. Guts turned to them. I'm sorry, do you want me to not sit here?" Hollow didn't want to be alone with their thoughts. Not again. They grabbed Guts' hand, urging Ze to lay back down. Ze did, not wanting to make Hollow feel worse. Guts didn't even speak. Ze just allowed Hollow to exist. That's all that mattered. Guts wrapped their arm around Hollow's waist, and rested Ze's head on Hollow's shoulder. What am I even feeling? Hollow thought. Hollow never realized until now how soft Guts' hair felt. Or how soft Guts' herself felt. It was weird. Hollow couldn't help but be a little anxious. They didn't deserve to be treated nicely. They didn't deserve to have people love them. They deserved to die. Hollow fell asleep while still holding Guts' hand.